Today's the day. All eyes are on the president to do executive orders today. It counts. It makes sense. It's logical. And the timing is excellent. Why? Because there's $800 billion sitting around that the president can send out for executive orders. And that has nothing to do with the incredible great news of what's going on with Steve and Nancy today as well. Next, the gross national product number for third quarter of this year is expected to be announced officially today or tomorrow. And the number is categorically going to be incredible. Apparently, it's going to show the economy went up 35% after going down 31% in the COVID-19 outbreak. Finally, tomorrow is the last and final presidential debate. And mixed messaging for this president over recent days is causing his advisors to say, get on message about stimulus, stay on message about stimulus, as 63% of all Americans now polled say that they want to see stimulus package done before the election. This is amid news that Joe Biden is seeking to raise the taxes of people making over a certain number of dollars per year at upwards of 660%. A lot of big developments, a lot of big twists, and this is the continuation of Early Mornings, LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. This is a continuation of Early Morning to LALATE. The coffee's brewing, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, the corn's here. The corn is still here. And I really appreciate you for joining me on the really most exciting and fun part of the day, which is Early Morning to LALATE. We keep it light, we keep it airy, and we keep it fun. In a day in which it's starting out really quite good. So it's a really exciting day to be here. This is the bottom of the hour broadcast, the 6:30 broadcast. I'll drop in the links below. The link to the 6 a.m. broadcast if you missed that as well and you're just joining me. But the exciting point is that if you're watching this live, if you're watching this as an instant premiere now at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can live chat. On the right of this video is a live chat going on. Because this is an instant premiere, you can chat with your Purple Power buddies on the right. It's a lot of fun. You can chat, interact, and then I can see your comments as they come down the screen. I want to thank overnight the following people who super chatted in yesterday's chat. They were DeFool Christmas, Adrian Tardy Gurdon, Grandma Ducky, who is an OG of this channel, and boy, she was in my very first live chats, and King Zimalik. Really quite nice. Thank you for your donations and your super chats. DeFool Christmas in his super chat donation says, in your opinion, do you think we'll be reaching a deal by Tuesday? Yeah, well, let me see. Today's Wednesday. I don't think we will, but I'm not really sure. Needless to say, will we reach an agreement by the weekend? I think we will. Let me get to the details in this video. In this video, I'll continue with Mark Meadows' comments from yesterday and certainly answer things like DeFool's comments. I'll be going over a little bit of my opinion because people always ask me, what's my opinion of the situation? Then I'll be going over those poll numbers and why the president should be doing executive orders today. I mean, today's a really key day, and why the executive order has nothing to do with what's going on with Mitch and Nancy, and Steve and Nancy, actually. Finally, I will focus on Mitch, which I forgot. It's so easy to forget about Mitch. He does have that bill today. Did you forget there's a bill today? It's hard to remember when Mitch McConnell's doing something. That and more. And let's get to the breaking news. Let's start with Mitch, by the way, before I forget him again. It's easy to forget Mitch McConnell. The shockingly hilarious twist overnight, if you missed it, was that Mitch McConnell today, Wednesday, will be introducing his joke of a bill, which no one's really taking seriously. But while writing that bill, at the same time that he was writing the bill, at the same time that he was going around to his friends that don't want to give you any stimulus, say, do you support my bill? Guess what he was also doing? He was apparently helping Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows in trying to get their bill finalized and approved. And not telling you. It's just these people are really sneaky. Let me explain to you what's going on. Under the first stimulus package, the one in March, the one that you're supposed to get the multiple stimulus checks, when they put that to negotiate that draft of that bill, as I told you many times, there were hundreds of congressional people involved of negotiating the bill. It was not just Steve and Nancy. There was hundreds and hundreds of people. And so I've always said since June of this channel that the problems we have had and the reason why we have no progress is we just have two people. Well, somewhere in the last few days, and I think it's been about a week ago, because Nancy started talking about other people about a week ago, somewhere in about the last week, Steve and Nancy started to realize we're not getting it done, so let's get other people involved. And Nancy and Steve spoke all 45 minutes yesterday. Yes, that's all that they worked. But ironically, it's not them that's doing it now. Thank God. It's actually the subcommittees. Every House and every Senate subcommittee has about 5, 6, 7, 8 people at least. And those subcommittees are divided for things like small business, health and human services, things like that. And they're now looking at the bill and making revisions to the language of the bill so that ultimately there's a lot of people involved with getting the second stimulus check done finally, not just two people. And this is why progress is moving really fast suddenly. What's really quite interesting is that Mitch McConnell's going to be introducing this joke bill today. And I'm sure no one is going to know about what I just told you about, because I didn't know about it either. How did I know about it? Because Mark Meadows appeared on CNBC yesterday and gave really one of the jaw-dropping biggest interviews I've heard on second stimulus for over 6 months, in which he explained things that we did not know were going on. One, we did not know that thing was going on. Second, we did not know that the president was telling Nancy and Mark and Steve there will be a bigger stimulus check in there. Oh yeah, there will be a bigger stimulus check, and that it will be a bigger stimulus check for adults and a bigger stimulus check for children. We also did not know why there was this push to focus so much on language in recent days. Now we know why. It's actually a really valid concern. The concern is that if Nancy and Steve reach an agreement and they understand what the language is and the wording and the numbers, and they send it to Mitch's house, the Senate, then when the Senate gets it, they can do what's called a poison pill. I really don't like the use of the terminology here, because a lot of people know the term poison pill from Wall Street, which is when a business owns another business. They put a poison pill, so ultimately you can't buy the business. That's the most common use of the term poison pill. So when I first heard about it, which is about a week ago, in terms of Nancy Pelosi, and what is she talking about? This type of poison pill means that when you get the bill in the Senate from the House, they put something in it so it is no longer effective. It's poisonous. It's now lost its purpose. An example is that we'll get a stimulus check of $4,000 to all adults, and then the bill arrives at the Senate, and then Mitch changes the language to say to adults who can dance on their head and eat bacon out of the left side of their teeth. Wait a second, that's not what we had. Well, it's the Senate. We like to be fun. So that's what she's worried about. And so by involving both subcommittees on negotiating the language, we're now more protected that exactly what you're getting is what you're getting. What I say, however, about that is that that's more reason than ever for my EIDL viewers, my EIDL grant and EIDL loan viewers, to say, hey, protect our language. We want to ensure that we get our $10,000 grant. We want to ensure that we get a higher EIDL loan. Also, my hazard pay viewers, well, put the hazard pay in there. Make sure that the hazard pay says that the employer must apply for hazard pay. Now, ultimately, I feel like I'm fighting a one-man horse every time I bring up hazard pay, because it seems like that no one wants to give it. But I would hope that hazard pay gets back in there, and I hope the efforts of the Purple Power gets hazard pay back in there, and that in revising the language, they ensure that the employer must get the hazard pay for you. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi, this week, Nancy Pelosi spoke to Joy Reid of MSNBC to explain what was going on with the negotiations. And she said, right now it's looking good, but it's just all over the place. What she's concerned about is the language. And what you talk about is what they try to do is sabotage this and that. The antidote to all this poison is just a vote. Well, no, the antidote to the poison is actually just to do what you're doing now, which is actually working. What's also happening is that Nancy Pelosi had to really eat her lunch yesterday when she had to explain what happened to that deadline. You said there was a deadline, now there's no deadline. It isn't that this was a day that they would have a deal. It was a day that we would have our terms on the table to be able to go to the next step. Okay, that was not what you said, Nancy. Thank you. Mitch McConnell, meantime, says that today will be the day at which all universes will focus on him and his bill. Why he goes behind the door and hides and then focuses on Donald's bill. It's these people. I just can't. I want to do it. I want to go even bigger than the Democrats. Not every Republican agrees with me, but they will, says Donald Trump overnight. What's funny to see here is that these people don't seem to grasp the severity of the situation. The severity of the situation is that 63% of Americans polled overnight say that a stimulus package should be approved next week. It's taking too long. That's the first thing. The second one is that they say that Americans need, that the president and the Congress need to focus on getting stimulus relief. Do you think this is sort of obvious? Hello. And so what's going on right now is that the president's under fire for not being on message for economics in recent days. That he's focused more on scandal and Hunter Biden and laptops and Rudy Giuliani. That Joe Biden has been very quiet about stimulus. I mean, you would struggle to know where Joe Biden is on a stimulus check. He's not telling you. You will struggle to know why that Senator Harris, who I've detailed extensively on this channel in recent days, who wrote the multiple stimulus check bill, has no longer talked about it ever since she was announced as a VP running mate. It's as though Joe Biden's trying to hide from the stimulus debate negotiations entirely. And then on Trump's side, that he fails to address economics of the economy as a whole. What's important to understand is that people want these questions answered, and this is the reason why a executive order should be issued today. As you sit here today, the poll numbers are not good, and those explain why the president should do executive orders today. Arizona, Biden up 6%. Florida, Biden up 5%. Michigan, Biden up 7%. North Carolina, Biden up 3%. Pennsylvania, Biden up 2%. And Wisconsin, Biden up 8%. It is really shockingly strange numbers. Now, in a recent poll that I ran, I think 2 days ago, it showed that Trump was up in 2 states by about 2%, and that in other states, Trump was down 8%. The bottom line is that if you look at a lot of polls and you even throw in a 3 to 4 or 5% margin of error, the president is still not in a good position. He's just not. You can't say that this is good, even if the polls are incorrect and you throw a lot more percentages towards the president. He's still not in a good position. And so ultimately, do the stimulus package today do the executive orders today, because if you do the executive orders today, and you have that great GDP number tomorrow, and you make very clear how you won't raise taxes, that Joe Biden will raise taxes, that Joe Biden, ironically, I just don't like what he's doing here, that Joe Biden, ironically, is not talking about stimulus, but is talking about raising taxes to pay for stimulus. Okay, can we just have a complete conversation about the subject matter? I'm like, what is a stimulus check, Joe? Where's the hazard pay, Joe? What's the FPUC, Joe? I'm not going to talk about that. I'll just talk about how much I'm going to raise the taxes. Okay, and I'm going to talk about infrastructure. Yeah, that's really nice. What about the stimulus check? As we sit here today, we all understand that this is the second stimulus check, second stimulus package. This is a package that's supposed to cover you for what you endured in July and August, having not got anything for April, May. The next stimulus package is just around the corner, the third stimulus package, and that should be passed or voted upon in November, December. If it's not, then it comes in January. And the next question is, how many stimulus checks are going to give me, Joe? How much hazard pay are you going to give me, Joe? How much FPUC are you going to give me, Joe? FPUC under this bill expires in mid-January. So where are we going with this? Because ultimately, people need answers. And lack of answers shows that people perhaps don't care to tell you or don't have an answer. It's that type of concern that Americans have with both presidential candidates, that they're not addressing your concerns for stimulus on a true number-by-number basis. We don't want superlatives. We don't want generalities. We have that with Nancy Pelosi. We want to hear numbers. And so let me hear your numbers. So let me go over to some incredible comments and questions from yesterday. Gerardo Herrera, we need to get rid of all those tyrants. Greg B. Some agent I found who's friends with someone in Virginia says tensions are pretty bad in Washington. Even the ones who say they want to give bailouts and direct payments really don't. They just say yes to get reelected and then hide. They really don't care that much. Interesting. Gunnar Fanny, if we delay this until after the Biden administration, we're talking about 3, 4, 5 months. The American people can't wait, says Representative Max Rose. With each passing day without action, the American people will still be suffering. Thank you, Democratic Max Rose out of New York, who's a freshman who has a very vocal statement about things. The thing I like about Max Rose is he really sees the problem. He never says the answer. When has Max Rose ever said to you multiple stimulus checks for every month that you suffered? When has Max Rose ever said to you, let's do FPUC back to late July when FPUC expired? When has Max Rose ever said, how about if we give you a check for the month of March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October? No, all he does is talks about the problem, but never talks about the solution. Hopefully, as a sophomore senator, he's representative, he gets that right. James Alexander, we need to take all the politicians on a tour of the 10 cities. Amen. Kaylee Carlina, I'll believe executive orders when it happens. Kazar Duliba, let Pelosi's family survive on ramen noodles. Cora Pearl, good morning from New York. Hey, good morning. Pray this is our day, people. Let's pray President Trump steps in. Yes, amen. Joni Jacobs, cheek, my coffee pot died. Oh no. I'm 65 years old on SSDI. It's a crying shame. I'll have to go sign up to donate plasma to afford a new one. What the hell is 1.3 cola when prices have gone through the roof for us struggling seniors? $11 of that 1.3 will go to Medicare. I'm so sick of the political people. I'm pissed. Jesus, take the real. That's awful. I appreciate you for tuning in, Joni. That is just awful. What Joni's referring to is that COLA thing, that the Social Security proposes to give a 1.3% COLA raise. I detailed that yesterday 2 days ago and the day before that. They're proposing a 1.3% COLA raise, which is ridiculous. It's the second lowest. Well, it's actually the lowest raise ever. There were 3 years in which they gave no raise, so they consider this the lowest raise ever. And there's wonderful representatives, DeFazio, who I've detailed a lot on this channel, who have introduced a bill to have a 3% COLA raise. And she's right, Joni Jacobs, 1.3% COLA raise is ridiculous. It's like an extra $11. I'm sorry your coffee pot died. That's awful. Harold Goldberg, I've been blowing Twitter up for everyone in the White House, at least for the last 2 Purple Power babies. Joni Jacobs, if you are on Twitter, send me a DM. All right, with that, I hope you've enjoyed the live super chat on the right and the premiere. I know I always forget what it's called. Live chat instant premiere on the right. I really enjoy it. I enjoy reading it. I enjoy following along with you, and the corn enjoys it too. Coming up is mornings LALATE at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have big developments. I mean, I've literally this much more stuff I could go over in this video. So there's a lot of breaking news today. I'm really happy that you joined me. The butter is buttering, the toast is toasting, the coffee is brewing for most of you. And I really appreciate you for being part of this great new successful time slot of early mornings LALATE. Stay tuned and join me at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay with that life.